All right, ladies and gents, this is Will Zanders. Do me a favor if you can hear my audio okay. Uh, Let me do this just to make sure. Welcome, welcome. Roz, good to see you. Marceline Brown from Philly, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in the building. I was just talking to somebody about Philly yesterday. Elizabeth Harper from Missouri. Okay, I see you. Pam Edwards from my home state of Louisiana. Welcome. The one and only Coach Troy Monroe, the immortal Troy Monroe from Eugene, Oregon. Welcome, brother. Lynette from Athens, Georgia. Welcome. Miriam Karim from my other home away from home in Dallas, Texas. I love the DFW. Welcome. Gerald Martin, good to see you, brother, from the DFW. Francine from Ontario, Canada. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to have you on. All right. Kanasha Howard, welcome, welcome. Good to have you on. Hope I didn't miss anybody. Kimberly Wilkins, what's up? British Vancouver, Columbia. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Coach Kimberly Wilkins, the first diamond in the history of either of the Green Organics family of companies, Coach Kimberly Wilkins. The first six-figure earner ever at any of the Green Organics companies, that's Coach Kimberly Wilkins, out of the beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia area in West Canada. My other home away from home. I've been there a couple of times and it never gets old. Welcome, Richard Fritzler from Roswell. Welcome, brother. Nakia Ray, live, tuning in from Covington, Georgia. She is one half of my favorite dynamic duos. Katrina King from Crete, Illinois. Welcome. Belinda Ann, Pennsylvania. Rasan Owens, North Carolina. Stand up. Good to see you both. All right, ladies and gentlemen, had some technical difficulties earlier, but one monkey don't stop no show. So we got that resolved with the Wi-Fi streaming and everything. We should be good now. And again, before we get started, I want to let you know to please, review the information that we've already covered on days 1 through 4. It is here in the Facebook Live group, but for all of our subscribers on YouTube as well, it's there in order. Okay. It's there in order for you to check out days 1 through 4. Tonight, this day 5 video will be available here in the Facebook Live. Colette, good to see you. But this video will also be available on YouTube for people who are not in the private Facebook groups. Dorothy Ridgewood James, good to see you, Doc. Good to see you. It's Ridgeway James in the building. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's just get into it. Wow, a lot of information to cover tonight, and we're starting off earlier than yesterday because if we go long, we're just going to have to go long on this one. Oh no, Missy, what happened? It's frozen on your phone? That's terrible. All right, that makes me sad. Y'all put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me okay. Let me make sure it's not on my end. Put a 1 in the chat if the streaming and the audio, you can hear me okay. I just want to make sure that's one isolated incident and that everybody's not having a screen freeze issue like Missy McCallum, who's one of our just up and coming top team builders in the company right now. Okay, I think we're good. Sweet. Seymour Greenwich Blake. What up, coach? Good to see you, Diamond. Another one of our absolutely fabulous diamond distributors. All right, thank you all so much. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we've already covered the overview on until you know why the how doesn't matter, about why you should acquire wealth and things of that nature. We've covered essential oils and how they work for your health and your wealth. And we even talked about how they can work against you if you use the wrong ones or don't use them properly. We talked about the secret of currency. We've had amazing testimonials. If anybody has any prosperity testimonials that they want to go ahead and drop in the chat, we will read some of those live. We covered the mental framework for $1 Million Wealth, really covering the first half of the mental aspect of becoming successful and why even when some people do the work, they still don't succeed. And it's because you have to be properly aligned with the spiritual, mental, and physical planes of existence. That is not even up for debate. And it's the only logical explanation for why some people can do the same techniques, join the same day, be from the same city, sometimes be in the same house and get totally different results. It all comes down to an alignment issue. Most times it comes down to an alignment issue. but we really built your belief and your understanding of exactly how much wealth and abundance is just rolling around the world. The number of new millionaires every day is just ridiculous. And we gave you sources for all of that information as well, so you can do your own research. We did give you some disclaimers to let you know that on any of these videos, if you hear anything about products and these incredible health testimonials, we're not claiming that the products treat, cure, or prevent any disease. We're just giving you third-party medically peer-reviewed research from PubMed.gov and the National Institute of Health. You can do your research on your own. And we're also telling you true stories, and other people are telling you true stories about what they experienced. If you were on last night, you heard the testimonial of how using these particular oils, Rick Burnett, one of our fantastic team builders out of Fairhope, Alabama, that Rick got a windfall of $21,000 in unexpected money, which was really great for him. He was able to get out of debt, take care of his daughter, and then have some money on the side to do some fun things with, like join us in Orlando, February the 21st to the 23rd. So if you enjoy this particular training tonight, and you have not already secured one of the last minute early bird tickets to attend online or in person, I highly recommend you get one of those $40 tickets shortly before the price goes up to $97. And we're only going to have a few of those even when they become available, because this weekend I will actually be in Orlando, Florida, and I will be there part of the day going to different venues and hotels to identify the proper venue so we can go ahead and book that, get it under contract, so we can have everybody an address for the event coming up in Orlando. So we won't have anything left after I put the deposit down. I'm not going to do what I did, was it last year or something like that? Lost the deposit and just booked a bigger room because we needed more people. Not doing that this time. You know that you know that you know. And some of our team members and the team builders, the leaders, were smart enough to get one, two, sometimes three extra tickets just so they could make sure that they had a seat available for their new team members, that they haven't even joined yet. So that was great. That was walking in faith. Always fun to see that. But as far as the income claims, we're not claiming that you're going to make a lot of money. We work hard. We can give you true testimonials about our 4, 5, 6, and 7-figure results. We don't have any 8-figure earners yet, but we will. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 on this call, which is exciting. And we're going to give you some information about that. We also talked about landmines and the subconscious limiting belief and the automatic negative thoughts that'll keep you from being successful in your business, which is really unfortunate. And now we're going to dive in, and we talked about a research-based formula, never heard before in any type of training ever, on exactly how and how long it would take you based on your age and how long you've been in a particular environment to shift your wealth paradigm. Okay, so it can take as short as 6 months to a year. On average, it will take 3 to 5 years for people to get to the point where they're 6-figure earners in network marketing, and then they're making that 6 figures every year. And if they stick around long enough, the 6-figure money sometimes turns into 7, like it's happened for me and several others who are on the call right now. Now, as we dive into the information tonight, we're going to be heading out of the mental framework for success and wealth in network marketing using essential oils. And tonight is going to be all about the spiritual framework. Ladies and gentlemen, the spiritual framework of network marketing is the one most misunderstood, mysterious. It shouldn't be, but people just don't teach it, what we teach or how we teach it. And when they do, they charge a lot. I think we talked about yesterday how the going rate just for the training we did yesterday for that 1 hour, the rate amongst professionals in the lifestyle transition field and coaches and things like that on the low end was $2,500 an hour. And you got that information for the lean mean price of $399. And we're going to give you even more impactful information tonight. And we just want to make sure that you share it with your teams, that you use this information, that you learn it, apply it to your life, and that God blesses you abundantly. And I know that's his desire to bless you abundantly because it's in his word. Okay. So that being said, let's dive into it. A lot of critics in our industry, ladies and gentlemen, say that most people fail at network marketing, which is a technical impossibility. And I'll share that with you shortly. It doesn't happen at our company, obviously. If you made money with our company, just put a $sign in the chat, please. And just put a $sign in the chat. If you made a lot of money, put $2 or $3 signs in the chat, just so the people watching this on live in the group can understand this is a different opportunity across the board. This is a special opportunity. You only see an opportunity like this in this industry every 15 to 20 years. Well, in my experience and over a decade in the industry and being a student of the industry and studying the industry and where it's come from over the last 100 years, because this industry is over 100 years old, I found that you only have opportunities like the Green Organics family of companies, specifically HBN and GoDasana. You only have opportunities like this once every 15 to 20 years, if that. This is special, and you definitely want to take advantage of the opportunity within the life cycle of the opportunity. You want to get in at the right time, not too early and definitely not too late, and let's roll. Okay. So critics of our industry are quick to say that most people fail at network marketing. And I'll tell you, this is a technical impossibility because most people in our industry are actually customers. So when people say that, it's just a really, really odd thing to say because most people don't fail at network marketing. Most people never even attempt network marketing to fail. So how could most people, when most out of the billions and billions and billions of people on the planet, only a couple million at a time are ever trying network marketing? And so most people can't fail doing network marketing. And even more so, the majority of the people in our industry are customers. And they want to be customers and they have no desire to take advantage of the business opportunity. For example, we were at a boot camp a couple of years back, and Marcellus Mack was there, and he's doing our hot market retail scripting, and he enrolled 27 customers that day. I think only one of those people, his brother Josh, ever went on to become a distributor. But Marcellus Mack, 26 out of 27 orders that he had were just customers who wanted to buy products, try the products out, use the products, and some people continued ordering. That's actually very common. I remember excuse me, when excuse me, when Charlotte Whitaker was at pause. Shout out to the call. Shout out to Coach Marcus Jones, one of our top earners, top team builders in network marketing, the first guy to ever hit six figures with HBN ever. So that's awesome. Good to have him and Coach Kim on the call. Now, we're talking about Charlotte Whitaker. Now, Coach Charlotte Whitaker, she's a diamond with the company now. She wasn't always. None of us were started out diamonds. We had to get there. And she's about to become a six-figure earner. She's upwards of $90,000 and change. And I don't think she's upset with me telling you that. She's right about to hit 100,000. Now, when Miss Charlotte Whitaker was at a boot camp, a subsequent boot camp, she, maybe earlier this year or late last year, she got 17 orders. All 17 of those orders were customers. Not one of those people decided to go ahead and take advantage of the opportunity, to my knowledge. They were all customers. And she does have a team of distributors with Kenya and Corey and so many great people in the Atlanta area, obviously. But just understand, 17 of those orders she got, all 17 were customers. So when people say that most people fail at network marketing, they typically aren't involved in network marketing, or they were one of the small percentage of people who joined who wanted to become a distributor, and then it didn't work out for them because they never understood limiting beliefs. They didn't understand coaching, teaching, retail, and recruiting, and all the things that we teach. Now, at Green Organics companies, these numbers are actually available on the website. 95% of the people involved with our company are customers. We're one of the few companies in the industry who's going to air out 100% total transparency about how much stuff is paid out, where is it going, the ranks, and super, super transparent. Uh, it's what it is, okay? And 95% of the people involved with our company are customers who have never even attempted to participate in the financial opportunity. Okay, yeah, just asking for support. Try a product, man. She didn't ask them to join the business, get on auto ship, come take all this rejection and nose on the chin. No, that's what we do. We want to make the money. We ready to blow up and make the magic happen. Our guests or most of our orders are going to be customers, period. And so because 95%, 95 out of 100 people with our company are actually customers and not distributors and never wanted to be, have no desire to be, it's impossible for a customer to fail. How can a customer fail, especially with a 60-day money back guarantee that we call consumer protection insurance? You can feel safe sharing these products with people that you love, people that you care about. You can believe in our products. And if you believe in our products, you should share the products with people you care about, and they are safe. They have consumer protection insurance. How? Because if they order a product and they don't like it, they can return it within 60 days, even if the bottle is empty. People rarely do that, but it's safe. A customer cannot fail in a business venture that they've never tried. So it is impossible for 95% of people involved with the green organics companies in any capacity, but 95% of the people are customers. Customers cannot fail. They're just making a purchase. That's like me going to Target, buying a T-shirt, and somebody says, "Oh my gosh, look at Will Sanders coming out of Target. He failed at Target." Like, what are you talking about, bro? I just wanted a t-shirt. Like, what are you talking? I didn't go in there to get a job. I didn't go in there to Target to work in loss prevention or work to register and get fired or they rejected my application or I started working in and never paid me. No, that would be Target being a scam or failing. No, man, I'm a customer. And 95% of people with our company is a customer. I can't speak for every company, nor did I have any desire to, but I'm pretty sure that even people who are not involved with our company can take that information, look at it for their company and go, hey, with these other companies, 70% of our people are customers. Okay. And if 70% of y'all people are customers, then most people can't fail. Okay. So to focus on our companies, because we do what we do, only 5% of the people involved with the Green Organics family companies are distributors. Only 5%. Okay. And corporate puts this information out there publicly, and all the government can see it, the public can see it, the regulators can see it. They're not about to get audited or nothing bad about to happen because they're not putting out anything untrue. Network marketing companies rarely, on the corporate side anyway, these other companies, they rarely put out stuff that's not true. Rarely, because they can get hit over the head for publishing that false information. So it's the distributors a lot of times that be selling wolf tickets and telling people they done things they ain't never done. You got to watch that in the industry. But a customer can't fail. So that leaves us with, and the customer here can even get their money back. So that leaves us with 5% of the people involved in our company. And even if all 5% of the people with our company building a business failed, that's still not most people failing. It's impossible for most people to fail because most people aren't involved. And of the people that are involved, 95% of them cannot fail because they're not even trying to do anything where you could even win or succeed other than being a customer buying a product. So that leaves us with 5%. And since a lot of us on this particular Facebook Live are part of the 5%, all of us really, and we win and we're making money and we're excited. You see the testimonials and everything people putting in the comments. It's impossible for even 5% cannot possibly fail. So if that makes sense, put that in the chat. Put that in the chat. There's a very, very small percentage of people who fail at network marketing because there's only a small percentage of people who want to be a part of the financial opportunity. Most people don't even get involved in any capacity. And then the other people that do, 95% of them will never talk to a single person. They're only joining to use the product, which leaves us with our company, 5% of people, and out of that 5% of people, a lot of us actually win and some don't. Okay, so the correct thing would be a small minority of people who decide to participate in network marketing industry as a customer or a distributor. That group, quote unquote, fails. Okay, but 95% of them cannot fail. They are simply happy customers. And if they're not a happy customer, they can use the money back guarantee. So we know that, and these numbers are all transparent and they're all on the website, and you can see them. And every company should talk about their company like this if it's a legitimate company. That's the thing, okay? So that being said, our success rate for customers and distributors is over 95%. 95% of our customers are happy, and out of our distributors, even if 2% or 3% or the 5% make money and successful, that's still good. Okay, that's it. So here's the question. Well, Will, how come that small percentage, that less than 5% of network marketers fail? This is all the value. This is valuable information right here. How come even that small percentage fail? Okay, they fail for several reasons, but one reason is they don't do the work. Just out the gate, they don't do the work. They don't do the personal development. They don't listen to videos or read the books. They might listen to a video, read a book one time or for a couple days, but they don't do the work. Okay, they don't learn. They don't do. They don't learn social media properly. They don't learn how to recruit. They don't learn how to retail. They never take the time to go through the pay plan and learn the pay plan. They don't learn about the products. They don't get on the trainings. They don't come to events. They don't read books. They don't talk to people. They don't plug in. They have no idea what's going on. When you don't have any idea what's going on, you're not even bothering to learn the rules of the game. It's nothing wrong with that individual. It's just not the right time in their life for them to take their business to another level. So technically, that can feel like failure to the people on the outside looking in. But if you were to talk to the vast majority of these people, they would tell you, no, there's nothing wrong with the company. I joined at the same time Bob joined, and Bob done made $1 million. I joined at the same time Christine joined. Christine done made $500,000. I remember I joined right up the same year Coach Kim joined. Coach Kim done made dang near $1 million, and she's got $1 million earners on her team.
So, and they in different countries. We all had access to the same products. We had access to the same training, the same events, the same books, the same videos, the same Facebook Live, the same Facebook groups. I just didn't take advantage of it. It probably wasn't the right time for me in my life at that time. As some, if they're being honest, and most people will say that, man, I was busy, man, I had stuff going on, but I may come back around and get situated. And guess what? They always can because we'll be here. You know, we'll barring disaster or God calling me home early, we will definitely be here. And that's that. If your flag is planted right here with the Green Organics family of companies, HGN or Go Designer, just put in the chat flag planted. Just see how many people we got whose flag is planted. How many people we know who understand that you can never make long-term residual income being inconsistent, and you can never make long-term residual income jumping from company to company to company. Let's see in the chat whose flag is planted. All right. Now we're going to move on to this other part. Science has shown us, and we talked about this on day 3 and day 4, that even if a person does all the work they're supposed to do, okay, all the work they're supposed to do, and this is even in traditional business, 90% of traditional businesses are closed after 10 years. That's just it's same numbers. How come the people, even if they do the work and try really, really hard, how come they still fail? 80, 90% after 10 years failure rate. Why? Because of subconscious limiting beliefs, the automatic negative thoughts that we talked about, the programming that occurs sometimes before you're born and other times when you're young. And people a lot of times quit too soon. It's like college. If you stay for 4 years and go to class, you'll probably stand a pretty good chance of graduating. But if you quit after 2 years or you don't go to class consistently, you probably won't make it. And shout out to Matt Chop Bertrand out of Alta, Louisiana, arm wrestling champion, best support team in the business. I agree, bro. Thank you, man. Good, solid brother right there. Real good family man, serial entrepreneur, and reality TV show star. All right. So we got that part. Now, the last thing we talked about was events and how it's your best option to shift yourself based on emotional impact. And we use Seymour's testimonial for that. And we have some other stories we could share, but for time purposes, we want to keep the party going. Now, tonight, we're going to get into a deeper level with transitioning out of the mental framework, the mental alignment and the spiritual alignment. If you ever want to win anything, you have to be aligned spiritually, mentally, and physically. Okay? You got to be aligned spiritually, mentally, and physically. Now, a subconscious limiting belief that a lot of people don't know they have is that being wealthy is bad, or rich people are some type of way, or people you perceive to be rich are always evil, or they're really lucky and not talented, or whatever. But here's a rule, regardless of what you may think. Here's a rule. You can never have what you criticize. You simply cannot become what you criticize. Vibrationally, it's impossible. It's too contradictory. It's like blessing and cursing should not come out of the same mouth. There's a verse in the Bible that says that. You can't become what you criticize. Okay. And notice I said criticize. I didn't say judge. Like you should be judging people, but you can test all things. You can offer your opinion and your criticism of certain things, and that's not necessarily bad. But you should criticize. If you're going to criticize stuff, make sure make sure you've done enough research to know that that situation, that person, or that situation they're in is really authentic and really the way it is. Because if you're just criticizing wealthy people because they're wealthy, then you need to be doubly sure, because you'll never become wealthy. You cannot have what you criticize. It's just impossible. It'll never work. Okay. It'll never work. Now, we're going to be talking about tonight again. And, whenever I talk about the spiritual aspect of things, the metaphysical, esoteric aspect of things, it's going to be coming from a Bible standpoint. All right. It's just my favorite book, and it's the one I'm most familiar with and the one I've studied the most. However, these concepts that I'm about to give you are also found in certain areas of the Quran. It's also found in certain areas of the Bhagavad Gita. It's the Indian word, got me, but I know it when I see it. What else? The Sanskrit ancient texts as well, the ancient Hindu texts, like if the ancient Sumerian texts, like if you really start looking thousands and thousands and thousands of years back on historical texts, it's like, wow, this stuff is all very, very related, although not identical. Okay. Very similar trains of thought. The people are different. A lot of the practices and customs are different. Our belief structure may be different for 80, 90%, but some of this stuff, there's a common thread that runs through most successful, spiritual traditions or religions throughout time. Very, very interesting. Okay. Yep, he says the Bible is the number one best-selling book everywhere, even in prison. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bible is the number one most read and requested book in prison. The second book, 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. That's a bar. If you're in business and you don't have that book, you're missing out. It's a leadership book. I don't recommend it for new network marketing distributors because it can be very, very dark because historically it talks about some wild stuff that happened historically. It's a very long book, boring, but it is what it is. And I think it's a great book for business owners or top level leaders who have already hit the six-figure level. Great information. Yeah, but I'm with Chop on this one. Bible, number one best-selling book ever. Fact. All right. Now, well, when I went to Bible college, we learned some different things, which was amazing. And some of the things that we learned were different laws about biblical interpretation. Okay. And I'm going to give you some laws right now. I'm not going to give you the Latin words like lex verbi puritalis. We don't need the Latin words. I'm going to just translate it for you in English. And these are going to be the laws, the principles of biblical interpretation that we're going to use tonight to really identify the spiritual alignment for wealth, even if there is one. Because a lot of times, when you learn how to interpret the Bible and read it correctly in the original text, you're going to find some things that aren't what you were taught. There are some verses, some things that like, man, I didn't even know that. That's not even what the pastor said because the pastor didn't have the time to do the real research and dig deep on those levels. But the Bible does say in the New Testament to study to show thyself approved. So we're going to be talking about the law of contextual accuracy. The law of contextual accuracy. And basically that just means truth to context. Taking words outside of context is very dangerous, especially when you're talking about the Bible. For example, there's a verse that says, thou shalt not kill. Okay. If you really look at the context in which that was given, that meant to things like do not premeditatedly kill anyone unless it's a self-defense situation or unless you're in the military and you go into war, stuff like that. Obviously, that verse has to be taken in context. If you say that David shouldn't have killed Goliath, even though it was wartime and Goliath and him had agreed for mutual combat to the death, if you say, no, thou shalt not kill, you shouldn't do that, you're taking it out of context. It's easy to mess stuff up, especially when you're dealing with text and history and teaching and education, if you take stuff out of context, okay? You have to understand some things in the Bible just weren't cool. That's just me shooting it straight. You had some ladies who committed adultery, and the guy wouldn't get killed. It would be the woman who got stoned to death, which that doesn't really make any sense. I wouldn't want that to happen. But that was the context, and we got to acknowledge the fact that slavery was a thing back then, right? You got to understand that children did not have the same rights they had back then. You have to take it in context. If you take it out of context, it's crazy. It's like, oh my God. And if you're going to do that, you're not even trying to really understand the true depth of the spiritual text and the true messages that imperfect people were trying to give you perfect wisdom inspired by the Holy Spirit. So you can't interpret it without the law of contextual accuracy. Similar to network marketing, if someone says, man, Will Zanders has more no's and more rejection, contextual accuracy, Richard, accuracy. Will Zanders has more no's than anybody else at the Green Organics family of companies. He's been rejected and got no. Well, yeah, that's probably true. But if you leave out the fact that despite all those no's, he's still a millionaire with the company and all the money he's made, if you leave that part out, that he's got a lot of yeses, right, and helped a lot of other people, you leave that out and you take that one isolated thing out of context, it's not going to do anybody any justice. Okay, so just know the law of contextual accuracy is the thing. We want to emphasize words within their original setting specifically for accuracy if you want to interpret it properly. The next law, the one I alluded to earlier, lex verbi puritalis, which is in English, it is the law of semantic accuracy. This is going to be talking about the purity of the words and the focus on preserving the precise meaning of the words. Okay, now again, when King James, which is my favorite translation to this day, translated the Bible with his scholars for the first time, remember, there wasn't any electricity back then. There wasn't any Google Translate. There wasn't a lot of the words are simply unable to be translated in their original text. So what is incumbent upon us to do when you want to really start to translate and understand the law of semantic accuracy, the accuracy of the words, you want to look up the words in their original text and go to the root and what it really means. For example, we're going to bring this up later. The word evil appears several times, many times in the Bible. However, It's not the original word that's in there. The original word in the Bible, in the original language, in the Old Testament, New Testament, there are 9 different words used, and they're all different from different languages. Some are Aramaic, some are Hebrew, some are Greek, right? They're all different languages. But in English, they're all the same word, evil. So sometimes you're going to have evil in the Bible referred to as levels. Sometimes, honestly, it's not that bad. It's like you're in a situation where this is morally questionable. I don't really like this, but it's not illegal per se. That'll happen. Then other things you'll have, like people just sacrificing kids. Oh no, that's evil, right? But it's all the same word. Biblically speaking, if you ignore the law of semantic accuracy, you really will never be able to find the true word. People ask, what language did Christ speak? I can tell you, it wasn't English. What language did God first speak? What did Adam speak? It wasn't English. Regardless of what it was, and scholars differ about this type of stuff, it's not the King James Version. It's going to be a lot more that you have to put into it. But again, study to show thyself approved. The last law of interpretation, and there are several, but this is the last one we're going to focus on, is going to be lex intenti primordialis. And that is Latin for what? The law of initial intent. This is my favorite one. I'm gonna tell you, this is one of my favorite ones. I think it'll be very enlightening for you in that way. And it's going to be the law of initial intent. And what that means is reflecting on the purpose set from the beginning. Okay. For example, if let's look at both of these right quick before we move on to the context of what we're talking about this evening. When we talk about the law of semantic accuracy, there is a verse, and it talks about redeeming the time because the days are evil. And when you read that verse, redeem, you can look it up somewhere, but it says redeeming the time because the days are evil. I used to think that that verse meant work really hard because there's not a lot of good time left. Like we in the last days. That's what it really felt like to me. But when I really broke it down under the terms of contextual accuracy, semantic accuracy, original intent, the word redeem simply means to buy back. That is what it means in biblical terms, to buy back, to repurchase, to purchase back from who got it in the first place. Redeem the time, buy back your time. And then it says, because the days are evil. But that word evil, I just told you there are 9 possible different definitions for that word in the Bible. And that particular version of it was Greek. It starts with the P. I forgot what the exact word was. But that particular word did not mean evil in the way that we think. It meant actually a morally questionable situation. You know, some real stuff that we ain't really trying to do. But on the level of terribleness, all right, ain't that bad. And that's just what it was referring to, a lesser level of evil. So it's still bad, still terrible, but not as bad as some stuff could be. Okay. And that's just the word they had it used at the time. It's like you got different levels of the hot wings. You got mild, medium, hot, super hot, nuclear, atomic. There's different. It's all hot. It's all hot. But there are levels to it, and you got to understand that a lot of languages other than English have incredible texture and depth, and one word can mean many, 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 many things. Okay, especially biblically speaking. So redeeming the time simply means to buy back your time. We talked about this 2 days ago on the video. Okay, employees are going to trade their time for money. Entrepreneurs and network marketers are going to trade money for time. I have no problem with the auto ship for 100 BV. Just like the business owner at the Starbucks has no problem paying $5,000 a month to lease that spot and then to pay the employees over there. Why? Because he don't want to be there. He want to go live his life. So he's going to take his money, he's going to buy back his time. So redeeming the time actually is an entrepreneurial concept that we can apply to network marketing, and not because the days are evil like the last days, which is also a Bible concept. It says the days are morally questionable, and quite frankly, some of these places where you might be employed at, you don't want to work there. Some people don't want to work at Disney because Disney might be involved in some nefarious things. Some people went to work in the music industry and they had to do some real crazy stuff to become successful. It was morally compromised, those areas. But if they were not trying to trade their time for money and they established a business and traded their money for time, they could call their own shots. Okay. So it's talking to entrepreneurs in that verse, but you wouldn't know that unless you were talking about the law of semantic accuracy. Okay. And that's what it is. She says right here, Laurie said when she first started, she couldn't afford her auto delivery, but She still did 100 BV with Godasana and HBN. And now her commissions pay for it. And that's exactly what we want to see. Fantastic. Yeah, if you even work the business a little bit, and Lori's made thousands of dollars at this point, verified. But even if you work the business a little bit, you should be able to get your product for free following the systems, but we'll talk about that. All right. So the last thing we're going to talk about from a law standpoint is going to be, again, the law of initial intent. And that simply means that we want to define the words that we're doing reflecting on the original purpose. Okay, reflecting on the original purpose. Now think about it. When we look at the first law, contextual accuracy, the second law, semantic accuracy, and the third law, the law of initial intent, it's that the first time a thing is mentioned in a text is going to identify the character of the thing. This is specifically to the Bible. Why? Because God said he's the same yesterday and forever. That's the New Testament. The Old Testament, in Malachi, he said, I'm the Lord, I change it not. He's the same. So how God did a thing from the beginning is how he's going to do it forever. It's just how it works, okay? Now, with that in mind, let's look at the wealth and what substance represents money on earth. And I've actually trained on this once before on this particular piece of it, but we're going to really go in depth tonight. What substance on earth represents money today will probably represent money in the future and represented money in the past, specifically in ancient Bible days. How was wealth represented? It's a particular substance I'm looking for. Let's see who knows what that is. Okay. We're looking to find a spiritual alignment for wealth. We're literally looking for a spiritual certificate that will tell you it's okay for you to be rich. All right. So let's see what substance. Give me some things that represent money on earth that are really old, still current, and in all likelihood will be here in the future as well. Let's see who knows that. Richard said essential oil. That is a great guess. Ed said silver. Really, we're getting warm. We're getting warm. It's going to be gold. And we're going to talk about that. Now, yes, essential oils are been there a long time ago, been there current, and been there future, but they don't currently represent wealth in the way that gold still does. They used to, and we're actually going to be talking about this tomorrow about how and what essential oils were most valuable as far as money back then, because a lot of them were. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. Tonight we're talking about gold, because according to the law of initial intent, gold in the law first mentioned, the first time a thing is mentioned is going to identify the character of the thing, okay? And gold is specifically going to represent wealth. It's going to represent money and always has. Now, if you want to look and apply these laws of translation, the laws of interpretation, you're going to go to look for the earliest mentions of gold in any historically accurate text. And again, we're going to use the Bible. Now, unlike most metals, gold does not corrode. Okay. And what does corrosion mean? It means oxidation and corrosion, which means what? It ages. Copper and brass and things like that will age. Gold doesn't age. Very, very interesting, as that's one of the characteristics, because scientifically it doesn't interact with oxygen and the other elements because of where it's at in the periodic table. But numbers matter, and gold is mentioned in the book of Genesis, which is the first book read in the Bible. It's not the oldest book. We talked about that yesterday. The oldest book is Job. Okay. But the first book, when the Bible scholars put it in order, so the first book is Genesis, but the first book is not the oldest book. Okay. So numbers matter, and gold is mentioned in Genesis 8 times when it's referred to wealth. Okay. And in the science of the study of numbers and numerology, which is a big part of the Bible, a lot of people don't want to admit that, but there's an entire book called Numbers. Okay. There's entire books about these things. And numbers is going to be in numerology and the study of numbers. 8 is the number of wealth and abundance. Okay. If you turn the number 8 to the side, it's the infinity symbol. Okay. It's not just a scriptural practice biblically, but it's also seen in Hindu and Sanskrit texts and ancient texts as well. The number 8 is going to represent, the number 7 is going to represent completion. Okay. The number 4 is going to represent the number of order. You have 4 walls to a house typically, or 4 corners, north, south, east, west. 4 seasons, things like that. So biblically speaking, 4 is going to be an order number, while 8 is going to be a money number. Okay, so people even who are born on the 8th day of the 8th month, look, Chop knows right there. That is going to be. He learned this stuff. Yeah, that's going to be a person who's always going to have an easier time making money. They may not have perfect health or this or that, but as far as making money for whatever reason, that matters. And even Job talked about his own birthday when he said, "May the day I was born be removed from the calendar." Job said that. That's how we know Job was born on the last day of February. Man, get that day out of here. All right. So that's the type of things that the numbers really matter. So in the book of Genesis, gold is mentioned 8 times. And the first mention is going to be in Genesis 2, chapter 2, verse 11 and 12. And it's going to be talking about the land of Havilah, the Garden of Eden, which is in the continent of Africa. And it's going to talk about the land there. And it's going to say it encompasses, talking about the rivers, which are still there today, by the way. It's going to talk about it encompasses the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. Okay, so the first mention of wealth, the first mention of gold in any capacity in the Bible was going to be in Genesis chapter 2. And God made it. He made the whole planet, made everything trees, gold, rocks, dust, even the stones will cry out, right? All that stuff made gold, and then specifically had to say, didn't have to say this, but said the gold of the land is good. Now, why would God put in his text the gold of the land is good? Because he knew that there was going to come a time when some people had got reprogrammed to think that poverty is perfection, to think that poverty is piety, to think that being poor is awesome. But you can't help yourself, you can't help nobody. That doesn't make any sense. Wealth is actually good, okay, obviously when used properly. But again, we got to put it in the context of what God said. God said there's gold, and the gold of the land is good. Now let's move on a little bit later in Genesis, because we're using the law of initial intent. And it says, and I want you to really understand, the gold was there before the people were there. There were no people in Genesis chapter 2. Adam and Eve came later. So the goal, the providence, the provision, okay, the things they needed before to be a provider, the stuff they needed was already there. The fruit and the trees and everything was already there, okay, before they got there. So a lot of times, well, let's just get into it this way. When Adam and Eve did come around, which is later, okay, later, after chapter 2, they had no clothes, didn't need them. The food was free. It was just them two. There was nobody else in the Garden of Eden that was human. So there was nothing to buy and nothing to sell. They had everything they could possibly want. So why was gold, which God knew would be used for transactions of business and wealth, why was it even there? Because God wanted to show that even when you have everything you have, that everything you need, there's going to be a different level of luxury and abundance and overflow, okay, that you have. That's what prosperity, biblically speaking, is really about. Okay, now some of you may not be convinced yet, but we're going to keep digging into the scripture, and then you'll be like, maybe you'll understand. It's going to take a few more verses to really drive this point home, and we're still harping in on the law of initial intent. What was God's earliest thoughts and earliest intentions about wealth in general? And so once that happens, and you notice, why was the goal there? Because you want to see ridiculous levels of abundance, right? You want to look, if you want to have 2 or 3, you don't need to have just, again, this is God's original design. This is not what we've made it. Okay, this is really what it is. If you want to have 6 cars, it's okay, but you only need one. Well, Adam and Eve didn't need any gold. They didn't need any money. They didn't need any wealth, but they had it, a lot of it, because that was God's original design for his children, was to have over an abundance. And of course, this is prior to the deception by the enemy, but we're going to address that too. Because sometimes we have these subconscious beliefs that we don't deserve it. And because we know that things that happen to us and our families go back 14 generations, that's not just biblical, that is science. It's a concept called cellular memory, where your DNA and your cells hold information for at least 14 generations prior to. A lot of that stuff's been passed on about poverty and being broke, and growing up and never having nothing and always having just enough. That stuff we've inherited, and it's not a generational curse per se, but that's the best way that a lot of people can interpret and describe the things that happen. All right, but you can fix it. You can fix it. Bible says, "Physician, heal thyself." Okay, so the opulence is there. You should, even if there's nothing to buy because you own everything you want, you should still have over an abundance. Why? Because how can you ever pass on legacy? How can you be what the New Testament calls a good man or a good woman? New Testament says that a good man or a good woman leaves an inheritance for his children's children. If you have just enough for you and don't have opulence and abundance and luxury and prosperity and have more, how can you ever pass anything on to the kids? And the Bible specifically says grandchildren, specifically says a good man leaves an inheritance behind for his children's children. So you got to be debt free because otherwise you're going to be leaving them debt. So according to the Bible, that's God's original design for you is to have over and above what you need, even if you just want to give it away to charitable organizations, or if you want to give it to your family or children's children, children's children, adopted spiritual children, biological children, or otherwise. That's God's original design for wealth for you. But you may not have known that. Now, well, Will, that's Adam and Eve. They were perfect. They hadn't sinned yet, right? Okay, well, let's move on to Genesis 13, and we're going to talk about Abram, who later was called Abraham, but at this time his name was Abram. Okay, and remember, this is the dude that married Sarai, but then because he was impatient, okay, this doesn't sound like a very godly characteristic. Him and her contrived, and he had money because they had a housekeeper. So he had money, had resources, okay? But he got it in with the housekeeper, got her pregnant 12 times, by the way. 12. And then him and the wife kicked her out the house because the wife was jealous because she didn't have kids yet because she was impatient just like him. She couldn't wait till it was her turn. Okay, so remember, this is a man who kicked out a woman who had 12 children for him. And basically, when you kick somebody off your land back in the scriptural days, back in the day, when you kick somebody off your land, that was basically a death sentence for a woman with small children. That was a death sentence. But God sent an angel specifically to her to make sure she was okay. So Abraham wasn't a real good dude. God still blessed him. Still blessed. What does it say? What does it say in Genesis chapter 13? Okay, let me ask you, was Abraham rich? Put a yes or no in the chat. Was Abraham rich? Let me see. Who knows? Who knows if he was rich or not before I get into Genesis chapter 13? Was Abraham rich? Just because he had a housekeeper don't mean he was rich. But let's see what y'all think. And we're gonna go straight with the scripture. But he wasn't a real good fellow. See, Dr. Dorothy James said yes, he was rich. Okay, trick question. No, Abraham was not rich. According to the scripture, this is what it is. Genesis chapter 13, verse 2. And Abraham was very rich. He wasn't just regular rich. He was very rich in cattle and silver and gold. Okay, and cattle in the Bible mean food and cars and land. Whenever you see cattle in the Bible, it automatically means food because you got to feed them. You got to have lots of land to keep them on. He had real estate. They also were used for transportation to pull a plow, horses, cattle, pull a carriage, transportation. So it meant land, it meant food, it meant cars, it meant water. And then you have silver and gold, which meant jewelry and money. He had a lot. He wasn't just rich. Bible says he was very rich. He was definitely lacking in spirituality, but we're going to tell you how God fixed that as well, okay? Yeah, water had everything. And it was good land. It wasn't no desert. It was land where the cattle could graze. So the dude wasn't just rich. He was balling out of control. He was very rich, okay? So gold is even given by God to his people, even the imperfect ones. So you don't have to be perfect to make money. That's why you need to stop judging people that are wealthy because their perfection, nobody is perfect but Christ. And even our best options, of the Bible says, just filthy rags. We trying, and it's still terrible in comparison. So that's not what's going to get the wealth, but you don't know that. Some of you have a subconscious limiting belief, an automatic negative thought that says, if I'm just good and poor and this and that or a third, I may not get money now, I'll get money in heaven, or I may not be wealthy. No. God's children got money today. They had it yesterday, they had it forever. And if you don't understand that, it's going to be easy for people to separate you from your wealth, okay? It's going to be very easy for them to separate you from your wealth. Now, here's the other part of it. Here's another verse. And this we're gonna come back to Abraham, but you've seen the first two times gold is mentioned in the Bible is for provision and luxury and opulence for his people. And then you see it again as provision, luxury, and opulence, even for his people that ain't perfect. Just think about that, okay? Because we are not perfect. Abraham wasn't either. All right. Amen to that. And so then but Abraham did have a very good relationship with God, even though he wasn't perfect. But we'll talk about that in a moment. Now, the next time we see gold mentioned, this is fun. This is Genesis, and this is Abraham's servant because he's looking for a wife for his son Isaac. Okay, this is in Genesis chapter 24. Now, Abraham's servant Isaac didn't have no social skills, none. He wasn't going out. Isaac was at the crib staying with his dad until he was 40 years old. Okay, Isaac got married right around 40. Now, just understand this rule that we have in our society about kicking kids out the house at 18 so they can go make it on their own and this, that, or a third. That's an American westernized concept, and that's a terrible idea, by the way, to have your children outside of your vision and teaching and tutelage at 18, 19, 20, 21. That's a terrible idea because they don't know nothing yet. In fact, the human brain is not even fully formed until 25 years old. That's why you can't rent a car unless you're 25 years old. Even insurance companies know better than to send kids out on their own at 18, 19 years old. Now, the military is going to be different. But if you're not going to the military where there are adults there to help you grow up, it's a terrible idea for just be letting your children, you got to get out the house at 18. Happened to me, happened to a lot of people. It wasn't smart and it's not biblical, but we don't know that. Okay. Isaac was in the house till he was 40, learning, becoming a man, maturing, acquiring resources, working, not getting in any debt. Like you got to spend that time. And again, that gets us into the two-parent household conversation, which is a whole nother tough conversation to have because dads are important, just like moms are important. It's just things don't always work out, but that's another conversation. So now, when we look at Isaac, who was nearly 40 years old by the time he got married, here's the verse. And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, that the man, this is Abram's servant, took a golden earring of a half a shekel weight and two bracelets for her hands of 10 shekels weight of gold. So this is some jewelry, this is some heavy, well-crafted gold jewelry that Abraham's servant was giving to Rebekah as like kind of like an engagement deal so she could marry Isaac. And now remember, this is just what it is. And there's a lot that we can unpack in this verse. It says right here, now the servant was on a mission, and this is a good servant, but he did not rush the first thing. It says, and it came to pass as the camels had done drinking. So look at what he did. He was taking care of animals. That verse right there tells you shouldn't be cruel to animals, even if you on the job. It says right there. Oh yeah, and Troy made a great point, Richard too. 30 years of age for men for full development, yes, but the part of the brain, you're not emotionally mature just because you're 25, but biologically, the amygdala portion of the brain is not going to be fully formed until 25. And with all the stuff today in the food and the water, it may be even later. Okay, so good point. But notice he said, as the camels had done drinking, so the servant stopped. He watered the camels, fed them, make sure they were good, taking care of the cars, basically, making sure the cars had gas, washed them. You got to take care of the stuff you got before you get more. Then he went and took the engagement bracelets and earrings to Rebecca after he was done taking care of the animals. So you ever see people that's cruel to animals? That ain't really God's people right there. You know what I'm saying? You got certain animals that was there specifically dedicated to animal sacrifice, and people grew out of that because Jesus was like, y'all ain't got to do that no more because it was inconsistent. It was inconsistent with the law of initial intent. You start to see there the different types of sacrificial things, and then people had to catch up and go, wait a minute, all of these sacrifices and stuff, that ain't really lining up with what God originally said about taking care of certain types of animals. And poof, there you go. So we don't really have a lot of that anymore. Now, but that's a whole another conversation. So it also says here, this is very interesting, that Rebecca was a damsel who was fair to look at. And we know she was at least 20 to 30 years younger than Abraham. She was probably, Bible scholars would say she was somewhere between 14 and 18 years old. And again, you can't take that out of context. It's not appropriate today, but back in those days, thousands and thousands of years ago, it was very appropriate for someone to be handed off in marriage or purchased in marriage from a father at the ages of 14 through 18. That was actually normal in context, not approvable today. We don't want to do that today. Weird, but thousands of years ago, that was the society that we live in. Again, this is pre-Moses too. This is pre-Ten Commandments. This is before people had any real tangible instruction. So it also says that Rebecca was pretty. Now, hear me out. This is gonna be funny. It doesn't say that Isaac was good looking at all. We know Isaac had money, but it doesn't say that Isaac was good looking. Well, he might have been. I'm going to suggest to you no. Because every time in the Bible when a man is handsome or tall, like Saul was tall, Samson was strong. They even talked about David's complexion. They said Joseph was good looking. Pharaoh's wife was trying to get with him. They said Zacchaeus was really short. If somebody's really short or tall or good looking or strong or handsome, and it's a guy, the Bible's always going to tell you. It's even talked about the texture of Jesus' hair and the color of his skin. It's going to always tell you. It don't say nothing about Isaac other than that his daddy had money and he was 40 years old. Okay, so Isaac probably was an average looking dude, not too tall, not too short. Women today would see a Isaac, a dude who looks average, and not even want to date him. And this dude might be driving trucks making 80 grand a year and literally be giving his whole check to you every single month because he loves you so much. He'd be drinking your bathwater. But a lot of women are ignoring the average looking guys who have good paying jobs because a lot of women are looking for the guy who has everything. And I'm going to tell you, biblically, that ain't even a thing. That ain't even a thing. Abraham wasn't no necessarily good looking dude either. It's rare to have a combination of a dude that's tall, got tons of money, got the edge, got this, got that. He's the right age that you want, the age that you think is great, and he young enough for what you want. You got people like that in the Bible. They are called Solomon. Solomon. And guess what? Solomon had 700 wives. So without us getting into all that type of stuff there, some of y'all got a good man in your DMs and you're not even giving him a chance because he ain't cool enough. And that's unfortunate. I'm glad Rebecca didn't think like a lot of the ladies today. I'm glad. She saw Isaac. She said he might not be all that, but he for me, and he want me more than I want him. And the mama was trying to talk her out of it. The mama thought that a better option was going to come by. And Rebecca was like, nope, you ain't talking me out of this one. But her mother was the main one trying to tell her, wait for something better. Ladies, if you want to be married, that's it. And that's only if you want to be married. Only if you want to be married according to biblical stuff. Only if you want to be married do you need to kind of look at the first mentions of marriage in the Bible and see what that was all about back in Genesis. So that being said, y'all better stop curving them truck drivers. That's good dudes. That's good dudes right there. All right. Now let's move on. We got other mentions of wealth in the family. And again, it says family because that's a Bible concept. Husband, wife, kids, that's a Bible concept. Okay, Nakia say check the contents and not the packaging. That is a fact. He ain't got to be 6'6". Y'all better settle down. Nakia, tell him. Nakia, tell him. All right. Okay. So in Genesis, Pharaoh is going to give Joseph a signet. But that being said, I'm not being hard on the ladies. Fellas, you saw what happened, all right? She wasn't giving Isaac no money. There wasn't no 50-50. Wasn't no 50-50. The man paid for everything. God put him in that position. So everybody getting heat. Look, everybody getting heat tonight. Men, women, everybody getting hit tonight. I ain't taking easy on nobody. Y'all need this. All right. Now, Genesis 41 says Pharaoh gives Joseph a signet ring, fine clothing. Oh, okay. Don't be afraid to have a nice wardrobe. Don't be afraid. He says right there, Pharaoh gave Joseph a signet ring, fine clothing, and a gold chain, and elevated him to a position of authority in Egypt. And Pharaoh took the ring off his hand, put it upon Joseph's hand, arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, and put a gold chain around his neck. So again, now later on in Genesis, you see money again. And this time, it wasn't there before it's God's people like Adam and Eve. It wasn't there with God's people like Abram. It wasn't given to God's people from God's people like Isaac and them to Rebekah. Now it's Pharaoh, who ain't even one of God's people, giving money to God's people. So the wealth is coming to God's people from good people, bad people. It was there before them. They just had to find it. Sometimes you just find yourself with it. You inherit it. It's just there. Every single time that God, and the other times, the last times it was mentioned, last time gold and wealth were mentioned, it was Joseph and his brothers bringing the gold and the silver and the money back after the drama happened when Joseph was in jail. So they got the wealth back. So the point is, God's original design of wealth in the book of Genesis, all 8 times is money for his people. It's always mentioned in conjunction with his people. Now, later on, we messed that up. And you got different kings and stuff, and all the money went crazy and everything. But God's original plan, the initial intent, was that the wealth was there for you, and gold was there before people were. Okay, and they were told where it was. All right, so just understand that particular concept. Now we're going to move on a little bit. I put a 1 in the chat if this is making sense, and you're even feeling a little bit better subconsciously about money coming into your life and prosperity coming into your life. Okay, regardless of what you're going through, regardless of what you've done. There's plenty of examples for everybody. If you even feel 1% better, we're making progress. Some people just you just been in a certain situation so long, you just think that's the way it's always going to be. and it's not. They got money, according to Genesis, they got money coming to you, money that got took from you that's coming back after some bad situations, like Joseph in jail. Then he got his money back. You got money that's already there for you in the garden that you're currently in. You just don't know where it's at yet because you talking to the snake instead of talking to God, right? You gotta be okay. All right. Now here's another one. This is fun. Okay, this is fun. I like the provision in advance. Now, in this one, it says right here, this is going to be in Isaiah. This is going to be chapter 41, verse 8. And again, this is going to be far past God's original design for money. But it says right here, but thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. So if you're a friend of God, okay, and we'll talk about exactly how to do that. If you're a friend of God, God takes care of your children even when you're gone. It says right here, but thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. You want your kids to be okay long after you're gone? Be a friend of God today. He'll take care of your kids tomorrow. Keep them out of trouble. James chapter 2, verse 23. Fast forward all the way to the New Testament. And this is huge. This is put a star by this one. This is going to be one of the biggest verses that you'll ever need to know. It did it for me. Maybe it'll do it for you about why you're going to become wealthy later this year and even in 2025. Okay. According to the chart we gave you the other day, how many months we gave you the exact amount of months it would take. Okay. Here's James chapter 2, verse 23. And the scripture was fulfilled, which saith, listen close, Abraham believed God, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness, and he was called the friend of God. It said right there, it said Abraham believed. Abraham did one thing. He did a bunch of bad stuff. Did his wife dirty, did the housekeeper dirty, did 12 of his 24 children dirty, and that was just the sons. They didn't even count the girls. There might have been a ton of girls too. Abraham was wilding. God not only blessed him and not only blessed his children beyond him, down to today, by the way, he says right here, and the scripture was fulfilled, which saith, Abraham believed God, and it was imputed to him for righteousness. So the only reason Abraham was righteous in God's eyes is because he believed what God said. That's it. That's it. Even though he was impatient, he actually believed him. All right, period. And it says it was imputed to him for righteousness, and he was called the friend of God. You get to be God's friend because God's the same yesterday and forever. He's still treating people just like this. You get to be one of God's people, a friend, if you just believe him. And again, for us, we understand that Abraham's penalty, the law wasn't there yet, but had it been, he would have been death and hell, would have been what he should have got, same as us. But the same way we have the relationship with God through Christ, Abraham had the relationship with God because Christ hadn't come yet in that form. Okay. So just understand, if you believe God, it will be imputed to you for righteousness. Now, what does God say that we need to believe? We'll cover that in a second. But just understand that for he so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son so that you can be literally God's friend. And God's friends get good stuff. And their kids get good stuff, even if God's friends ain't good people. It didn't say Abraham got imputed to him for righteousness because Abraham was awesome and he was so great. Didn't say none of that. It simply said Abraham believed God. And that's why the word is so important, because you got to know what you need to be believing in. Okay. So that's two words. You want to be great. You want to be spiritually aligned on the money side. Okay. Two words, believe God. That's going to get your spiritual alignment there, because that act of believing God leads to two things according to the scripture: righteousness in place of your foolishness, mine too. And number two, you get to be God's friend as opposed to not God's friend. So that's important because we already see how God treats his friends very, very well. Okay. They're not rich. They're very rich. I expect so much more than what I already have, and you should too. And sometimes it'll come from network marketing. Sometimes it'll come like Rip. He got a $21,000 check in the mail, unexpected. It'll come from all kind of ways when you really understand the principles we've been talking about for the last 5 days. And all of these recordings are here for you. Okay. So here we go. Even a cheater like Abraham, who kicked out the mother of his children, kicked out the house, was not just forgiven, but forgiven and magnified so much that it overflowed to take care of his own children. All right. So let's move on. Now, that's the question. What does God want for your life? What do you need to believe in order to be spiritually aligned with the mental alignment and the physical alignment to make your business really grow and successful? Well, obviously, for Adam and Eve, who had no sin at the time, they got opulence and abundance, all right? Because they had everything there for them before they even got there. They were born and created into wealth because of the gold that was already in the Garden of Eden. But the sinners, David, trifling, Solomon, 700 times trifling, 300 times trifling, all of those they also got opulence and abundance too. Think about that. It's really not about what you do so much what you believe, okay? What you believe, the faith that you have. But let me give you the short story. That's Old Testament stuff. Some of you need some New Testament stuff. I get it. Here's the short story, and this is going to be New Testament, chapter 3. It's going to be 3 John, verse 1 and 2. And this is a prayer that John's a major Bible player. He's not a minor guy. He's a big deal. He got multiple books. Yeah. So this is a prayer that John prays, and it really summarizes the will that God wants for your life that you have to believe. It says right here in 3 John chapter 1, verse 2, beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. Okay? I'm going to say that again. Beloved, I wish above all, like no matter what else you got going on, I don't care what the election doing, I don't care what the weather looking like, above all things, you should, I pray that you may prosper. That's your money. Okay? That's your wealth. That's all your resources. That was gold and anything else, cryptocurrency, whatever you want to use today. And be in health. Didn't say or, it say and be in health. So your physical health matters. But then this says right here, even as thy soul prospereth, your spiritual alignment. Okay, so your spirit, your soul has to be aligned, properly understood of what's going on. And if your soul is prospering on the inside, you're going to see health first, and then you're going to see the money and everything there, because I don't care how much money Steve Jobs had, he didn't have his health right. He didn't have his health right. So the money was irrelevant. Okay, the money was irrelevant. So just remember that one. That's the promise that you need to believe for you to be God's friend and have the righteousness get imputed to you from righteousness. It's just about belief. And we know for us, okay, it is belief in God through Christ. We know this, okay? For this is common for us, but we don't really understand how much we have in the wealth, abundance, prosperity area, because we never really did the research. We didn't study to show ourselves approved. And until you really get the knowledge, other people like Pharaoh are going to be holding on to your money. But when you're ready for it, they're going to give it to you, just like he gave it to, no police had to come. Pharaoh gave that to Joseph because Joseph was finally ready for it. So you got to be ready for it. All right. You got to know what God wants for your life. Now you know. That's that prayer. That's that verse, one of my favorite in the Bible. And you just need to believe it, and your spiritual alignment is going to come first. And too many people in network marketing, we either ignore the spiritual, mental, physical alignment, or we don't do it in order. We do the physical stuff first. We want to talk to people. Even when we read the books, we do the meetings. We be sending texts. We be getting leads. We be trying to really build the business, getting samples out there, working the farmers markets. We go into work. But it's not working kind of like it should, okay? It still feels kind of like a struggle because we either A, didn't align the mental side of it, the spiritual side, or both, and we just trying to do everything in the natural, and that's not going to get it done smoothly and effortlessly. You'll burn out, okay? You'll burn out. Now, and this is why when you look at our framework, the first step is becoming a product of the product, right? You got your health. The second one is learning and personal development, learning mindsets and skill sets. That's going to get your spiritual and mental stuff aligned. The third step is actually getting your two people. That's the third step. That don't come until you already have done a good chunk of the physical, spiritual, and mental work. The physical labor of that's the third step. Sometimes we're taking it out of order. Okay, and if you know what's good for your life, if you know what God's will for your life is, you got to believe that. Look, believe it, read it, speak it, record it, play it while you sleep, because it'll take a while for it to saturate and really grow. Okay, let's go to another one. And we're going to just finish up what we're talking about. So we talked about Genesis, how gold and gold is good. We talked about the book of James. When Abram believed God, he was imputed to him for righteousness, and he was very rich. He had the cars and the clothes and the water and the land and the money and whatever, and his kids had money, right? We talked about the next verse, that above all things, that thou may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospered. Here's another one. Okay, this is going to be from 2 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 7. And the things that we're closing out with right now are these last verses are really, we're just about done, are really, I hope, unlock something in you that allows the abundance and prosperity that God always wanted to get to you to really start to flow, regardless of what you think is style. Well, I did this, so that's why I'm not rich. Wrong. That's a lie. Okay. And we talked about a couple of days ago on the recording about how the essential oils work biblically, scripturally speaking. They're mentioned in the Bible between 500 and 600 times. Okay. People are always praying in the presence of essential oils and doing spiritual ceremonies and communicating with God. In fact, the word calamus in the Bible is lemongrass. That's what the oil is. And let me give you a really cool quote. Let me see. Uh, this is just off the cuff as we wrap up. Let me see if I can find this one right quick. Um, I don't. Oh man, come on! I don't see it. Let me see. Oh, okay, fine. This is from Isaiah. Now, this is funny. This is funny, and this is from Isaiah chapter 43, and this is God speaking. He is not happy. And let me get the KJV verse for you. You have not brought any fragrant calamus for me, or lavished on me the fat of your sacrifices, but burdened me with your sins, and so on and so forth. Now, this is really interesting. He says, "You have brought me no calamus." Okay, no lemon, and it's lemongrass. It's also called sweet cane. God, for some reason, loved lemongrass. The fragrance God really enjoyed, and He was really upset about that they weren't bringing Him lemongrass, which is called calamus. Other translations is called sweet cane, but lemongrass does have that type of really sweet aroma to it. So whenever you use a lemongrass essential oil, you are really taking it back to a really fun place in God's history. And because He's the same yesterday, today, and forever, again, I would want only the best, only the natural lemongrass that we have. I don't want no synthetic Walmart, Whole Food lemongrass. I want lemongrass that comes from the right part of the world was originally made. God made that plant. He like it. So if He like it, I love it. So lemongrass is a great one. Just want to throw that out there. But let's go. And that was a book from the book of Isaiah. Essential oils. We're going to go a super deep dive tomorrow on essential oils and how it's the last final step before we start unlocking abundance and prosperity for the next prosperity challenge, which starts on Monday. So please stay tuned for tomorrow. Let me give you these last verses as we wrap up. These, I hope they'll bless your life as much as they bless mine. This from Second Chronicles. And remember, in order to be God's friend, you just got to believe God. You just got to believe the prayer. Beloved, I believe all things. I wish above all things that thou may prosper and be in good health, even if that soul prosper. If you believe that God wants you to have a healthy soul, a healthy body, and a healthy bank account, that's what God wants for you. And if you should believe that that's what He wants, the negative stuff that you got going on, it will be taken away. And God is going to, according to His word, He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. He's going to put righteousness in the place of it. He's going to make you His friend, which is really cool. It says right here in Second Chronicles, art not thou our God, who did drive out the inhabitants of this land before thy people Israel, and gavest it to the seed of Abraham, thy friend, forever. So you got thousands of years later, God's the same yesterday and forever. He is still taking care of Abraham kids even when they cutting up. He'll still take care of your kids long after you're gone. It says right here in the book of Isaiah, it says Isaiah chapter 41, verse 8, but thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. Okay, so he's really dealing with your kids on a special level. If you right, he gonna be looking out for your kids because it's something that you would really want. And we're all God's children anyway. Now, here's the thing before we get into this last verse, which is it's the one we're going to close out with. And I just want you to understand that God, according to His word, has an incredible wealth alignment for you spiritually and this belief. And you don't actually have to be, a lot of people are confused about this until they really understand the scriptures and just the biology of it all. Well, Will, I'm not technically from the Middle East or Africa or Ethiopia where God's people are from, or Israel or Jewish where God's people. I'm from Detroit. My people's from Ireland. Listen, I'm gonna tell you why none of that matters, because it's a long conversation to have. I could make it make sense for you, but let me say this. Adam and Eve trump all. And Adam and Eve, because they trump all, they were first. And they were born into opulence and abundance, and God will always take care of the children for millennia. He already said this, regardless of our screw ups. You just have to come to the understanding and belief in yourself that because everybody came from those two children, everybody came from Adam and Eve. We're not going to get into the biology of who married who and who what came from here. We could do that. But again, if you take that out of context, it's going to sound real incestuous, okay? But you cannot take the Bible out of context. There wasn't but two people here. Okay, that's all we had. So you got to look at it in terms of context, or else it's going to be too weird for you to comprehend and understand. You have to be a mature scholar to want to understand that. Okay, it's not cool today, but back then, it was all we had. That's how it worked. The first two elephants, the first two people, that's all we had. Okay. Evolution, however you want to call it, but that's how it ended up at some point. Two Homo sapiens, and it is what it is. Now, we all came from them. We all came from the same genetic pool as the original two. The Africans came from them, the Irish came from them, the English came from them, the Senegalese came from them, my Hindu friends from India came from them, my friends from Trinidad and Tobago, my friends from Detroit, my homie from down the block, my friends from Iraq and everywhere else. Every country, all the friends from Taiwan and everybody in the entire world traces their lineage all the way back to these original two people who God already said, I'm looking out for kids. I'm the same yesterday and forever. I don't even exist inside of time. So for God, everything's today and the present. And they had opulence and abundance and everything they could possibly want and need. And even after Abraham messed it up and Adam and Eve messed it up, God still gave them everything they could possibly need, plus the abundance and the very rich in the silver and gold. You don't know that when Pastor talks about what your spiritual inheritance is, you never really did any actual digging to go learn about what your spiritual inheritance is and why you should have it. You never really did that. Now you know you can't be immune to the information. So I would breathe easy. I would expect a whole lot of fun stuff and a whole lot of prosperity to just be coming your way. Debts being eliminated. You should just really rest easy after tonight because they didn't have to really work hard to get that. It was really just about understanding, knowing, and believing what God wanted to do for them. And he told it to Abraham directly. He told it to Adam and Eve directly. He didn't tell it to John directly per se. John was praying prayers that he heard in the spirit. Okay. So everybody comes from the same proper, pure DNA lineage of God's promises and wealth to all civilization. It's not just for one race or one nation or none of that. Does God not own all the land, all the cattle, and everything else? Yeah. So that being said, let me give you this last one because this is great. This is from Genesis 1, verse 26. And this is going to bring this whole thing full circle. I know we ran a little bit long, but again, I'm doing the best I got with what I got, right? Okay. And this is from Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 and 28. It says right here, and God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. So God's having a conversation with some folks. Okay. We'll talk about that in Orlando. After our likeness, and let them have dominion, control, stewardship even. Let them have dominion over the fishes of the sea, the fowl of the air, whole big conversation about that, over all the cattle and over all the earth and over everything that creepeth upon the earth. Okay, now right there it says that we should have dominion over everything, but specifically I want you to hone in over all the earth. Ladies and gentlemen, where is gold located? Where is silver located? Where do diamonds come from? Okay, where do the seeds that make trees come from? The earth, the ground. Notice he didn't say trees because God had already made it very clear to Adam and Eve. He didn't need to repeat himself. He already understood they're going to be eating the fruit from the trees, but the trees started off as seeds in the ground, so that covers it. When he says all the earth, that's referring to the seeds in the trees as well. We know that some people say money doesn't grow on trees. They don't know any better. Money does grow on trees because cash comes from paper, paper comes from trees. It literally is trees. So God gave dominion over gold, silver, diamonds, rubies, platinum, fulvic acid, everything you can find in the earth, you already have a spiritual right to. You understand that? Already have the spiritual right to, okay? And Troy put a great verse in there. For the thoughts I think towards you, says the Lord. That is very, very good. The reason why, and the word evil's there too, but the reason why we specifically talked about it, specifically because we wanted to make people understand that a lot of times in the church, and I love it, a lot of times, Christian, let me get Troy's whole quote up there. to give you an expected end. Okay. But what's the expected end? That's why we have to dig deep, because there's a lot of broke people in the church with no money, and they're good people. But when they hear things like, for I know the thoughts I think towards you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end, they'll think to themselves, well, cool, that had nothing to do with money. So I don't have what I want or what my kids want, but I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm at peace, and this is enough. And for them, it's enough because they think it's enough. But that's not God's original design for wealth. His original design for wealth was all of that. And part of that expected end was a whole lot of money. That's just what the Bible said. I didn't write the book. It was like that this morning when I read it. So that's that part. But you have dominion over everything in the earth, rubies, diamonds, gold, silver. But you got to know that. Okay, it says cattle, leather goods, belts, nice clothes, Gucci, like it's all in there, and you have dominion over all of these things. There it is. Now, Belinda got it. That's a good one. Belinda said, I'll see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Now, David said that. And David was a sinner of a very special magnitude. David, the dude who slept with his homeboy wife and sent his homeboy off to get killed and still paid the price, but still ended up okay, super wealthy and everything else. And then Solomon was the son that got to live in this, that, or a third. So, yeah, you're supposed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living and the great beyond. That's a fact. Here's the last verse in that one, because it's in the Bible more than once, because some people are going to overlook it or start to dissect it and go, yeah, but dominion over the fish of the sea and the ground and the land and the trees and the stones and the gold, he ain't really, he going to say it again in the same book. So God created, this is after the first time he said it, this is the next time. So God created man in his own image, in the image of God created he him, male and female, he created them. And again, God the same yesterday, today, and forever, and he blessed them. You can't get rid of that one. And he blessed them. And God said unto them, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, and subdue it. Okay? Subdue it. Have dominion, control, stewardship. Okay? Get what you got to get. All right? But replenish it too. Okay? So don't, recycling. That's a biblical concept. Shocker. All right? Planting trees. All right? Biblical concept. Shocker. All right? And have dominion over the fish of the sea, the fowl of the air, and everything that moveth upon the earth. Now, right there, notice when he said every living thing that moveth upon the earth, we can get really into some deep wealth talk about that, but we will do that another day. So that's what I wanted you to understand today, ladies and gentlemen. We covered a lot of information. Please put in the chat a 1 only if you understand God's original design for your wealth according to his word and how it applies to you today. Put a 1 in the chat. If you don't, it's okay to put a 2 in the chat. What I'd recommend for you, if it's not really lining up yet for you, it's okay. Maybe it will later. What I recommend is that you go to either the Facebook group or to the YouTube channel. Go to my YouTube channel, Will Zanders on YouTube, and you can see all 5 of these videos in order. And if you're just catching up with us today, you can go watch. This one was pretty long. The other ones are shorter. You can go catch up, and then you can join. You can watch 1 through 5, get that over with, and you can join us tomorrow for day 6 of the 14-day Essential Oil Prosperity Challenge with Green Organics. It's going to be a real fun one. Okay, good. So everybody got the information. Okay, good. All right, that's all we want to do is just lay the spiritual foundation for wealth, so you don't feel guilty about being wealthy, and you don't be judging no other people who are wealthy because you don't know their relationship with God. You may know what the media tell you. You may know what you think you know, but you don't know them people like that. You only know you. And that's all you need to focus on. Abraham didn't know Bobby, Johnny, Ricky, or Mike. Abraham knew Abraham, and he knew his kids, and it worked out for him. Same thing for you, okay? Yeah, the Matrix definitely messed up this reality, but only because we lost track of the knowledge, because we control our portion of it. So Troy made a great point, okay? So I kept y'all too late tonight. I'll see y'all tomorrow afternoon. Good night. God bless. And again, I'm going to get this posted on YouTube ASAP. Y'all have a good night. Thank y'all so much.